There's a lot of noise going on. I'm currently doing laundry, so getting productive things done for the day. I've just am uploading my vlog from yesterday, which is really short. I didn't realize how little I videoed or talked, so sorry, that's really tiny. Today is probably going to be the same because it's going to be a very busy work day. So I've got the Disabled Students UK talk that I'm giving on chronic illness in higher education. So I don't know, maybe I can insert some clips of that in here, but we'll see how it goes. I don't want to show anybody's face or anything. Hopefully that goes well. That's at 3 o'clock and right now it's just approaching noon. So I will have leftover pizza because HelloFresh didn't work out. And all they could do for us was like give a refund to our next fully priced order. So right now, because we're just trying it out, we've got a discount code on it. So I think we have another 2 weeks of it before we would have to pay full price on it. So I don't know, it's a bit of a shame because 2 out of the 3 meals we can't eat unless we go and buy the things that are missing. So we're missing like mincemeat, and we're missing cauliflower florets, and we're missing sweet potato. Which that all like was the base of 2 of the meals. So that's a bit frustrating because it's very busy today, very busy tomorrow with deadlines and things. So we'll see how things get on, but hopefully after tomorrow we won't have to worry too much about the pressures of things. Then I can maybe do a bit more. I know that there's a lot of endometriosis awareness events. There's a lot of things I want to talk to you about, like pain management and just, yeah, dealing with endometriosis and other people's experiences and stories and things on this page. So I will hopefully be able to get to that a bit later in the month. It's just right now it's that beginning of the month craziness, and I've got about a month before my annual progress review with the university. So that's where you kind of talk about how your progress has gone. And because I've had some suspensions of studies because of chronic illness, which is what I'm talking on today, I'm still technically in my 3rd year, even though I've been doing my PhD for 4 years, so things have gone pushed back a little bit. This annual progress review is when we're gonna talk about me going into a thesis pending year, which is your 4th year, and that just gives you essentially an extra year to finish up writing what you need to write for your thesis. So it's important that I get as much done and have as much tidied up before that annual progress review as possible, so that that goes well and I can progress into a thesis pending year and finish my thesis eventually. I think one of the things I'm talking about today is it doesn't really matter how long it takes you to finish your degree, especially when you're dealing with something like chronic illness alongside it, and you go at your own pace and you have to prioritize your health. So I think luckily I've had a really good supervisory team that has encouraged me to do that, so I'm not as bothered anymore about taking suspensions of studies or, you know, taking things at my own pace. So we'll see how that goes, and I hope that it helps others who are there and might be fighting the stigma around not finishing in time. What even is that? And yeah, just prioritizing their health. So yeah, that's what I will be doing today, and I will hopefully check in with you later about what is going on. Bye. Of course. Agman, come back. Come back.
Alternative assessments that people don't agree with and actually written into the regulations of the university.
start with, I would like to talk about stigma around chronic illness, which often overlaps with what we call invisible illness, but not always. Concealing a condition can be stressful, leading people to worry about being outed in public situations. Unlike many visible disabilities or disabilities which require disclosure at the first in order to move through an ableist society, people with chronic illness generally can choose whether to disclose their disability or not, dependent on the situation they find themselves in. For example, if at a restaurant for a mid-conference dinner, a sudden flare-up of nausea, dizziness and pain begins, you may have the option to make an excuse to leave or to state that you feel generally unwell. However, for some people with chronic illness, a bad flare-up or episode could out you unexpectedly. Perhaps your speech starts to slur, you experience a seizure, or lose consciousness. Persistently thinking about one's condition and worrying about whether others know about it can take a toll on one's productivity as well. Thinking about one's illness necessarily diminishes the mental resources available for scholarly endeavours. Chronically ill students require accommodations that must always be negotiated, adapted and arranged with each individual instructor. This is a process that is referred to as the individualization of accommodation. In practice, however, this individualization appears more as a means of shifting responsibility for change from the university to the student. As discussed in the previous slide, there is an expectation from the university that you should know what accommodations you require when you approach disability support. This, however, is just not the case for many disabled students, much less chronically ill students. To some support services, they might assume you're getting by fine because you do not seem unwell from their perspective. Most chronically ill students I know are incredibly skilled at masking, almost as a way to protect themselves to stay in the game of academia. This is not sustainable though, and burnouts, flare-ups, and episodes are bound to happen if intervention is left to the individual and not the university. Although universities offer waivers to students who can prove, mostly by medical verification, that they require variation, it nevertheless remains that such practices other students, and they know it. Their effects can be far-reaching for any student managing a condition and can readily become a breaking point. A chronic illness is just that, chronic, meaning a regular presence in their life. A student may go months to years between worsening of their condition or it manifesting itself negatively, but it is still there. Most universities require medical evidence for every suspension of studies or extension you take. Why can disability services not accept that medical letters of diagnosis as a consistent form for this evidence? Many students have to take regular intervals away from their studies to manage their symptoms. This may not always result in needing a medical practitioner to intervene, but home management instead. This can also come down to the financial burden of needing to constantly seek out a medical practitioner to provide evidence when the initial diagnosis should be enough. Just as symptoms of chronic illness are invisible, existing policies at an institution may not be generally known. While the fine print in many of these policies may include individual disability and illness, faculty members may not know whether existing policies apply to their personal illnesses or that of their students. While many chronically ill students are used to being their own advocates, higher education should not rely on that as a method to not act when chronically ill students are struggling with their studies. The universities themselves need to communicate effectively, efficiently, and with empathy to ensure that none of their disabled students, including the chronically ill, get left behind because they did not know the right questions to ask. Thank you.
Wee cat. Oh, wee cat.
So I just gave my presentation. I think it went really well. There was a lot of good discussion and engagement. And one of my friends from my time in France, Brittany, joined, and that was so nice to see her. So that was really lovely, and my family joined as well. So it was just quite nice because usually when I talk on things or write stuff up, like it's not really accessible to any of my life back in the States because it's far away and usually these things are in person. But one of the few positives, again, of the pandemic is that luckily with circumstances like this, I'm able to invite family and friends to join in for these things. And Brittany has worked within disability services in higher education institutions in the past, so I'm glad that she found it helpful to kind of take a comparative look from the US to the UK. But yeah, I'm just gonna take a wee break because it is 4:30 now and I still have so much thesis work to do. So I'm glad that this talk is done. I've sent it off with a transcript and things so that anybody who couldn't make it can hopefully access it. And yeah, that's essentially the last thing I have to do today is work on my thesis, which I'm not entirely sure I will show you anything else moving forward because I'm totally shattered and there will be nothing else that exciting going on with my day. So thank you for tuning in and watching a few clips of my talk. I'm so tired. I've been really tired this weekend, just generally not, like, I've been sleeping fine, I'm just exhausted, and part of that probably is because I've been unwell for the past couple of weeks off and on, but I'm feeling okay in that area just now. I'm just a bit stressed because there's a lot going on, but hopefully the first part of this week I'll be able to get to the other side of it. I'm not entirely sure at this point if my chapter will be done before the end of the day tomorrow because my weekend was taken up with this, which was important, and I'm glad I've done it, but I just, yeah, I know that I'm going to want to do some more to it before it gets sent off, so we'll see. We'll see what happens tonight and what happens tomorrow. I'm going to try to not be too harsh myself because these are just deadlines that I've set. Really, it's not like there's any kind of the sky's gonna fall if I don't meet it right on time, so I'll do my best. That's all I can do. And yeah, what do you think, Kat? Do you have thoughts, opinions, feelings? You just enjoying a proper lie-in? Such a nice relaxing day. So he's doing Sunday right. But yep, that's my day, and thanks for tuning in. Bye.